So, hello everyone. It's been about 8 years now, and I wanted to share my experience of when I had heart disease. Excuse the lagging error. Um, yeah, uh, maybe a few of you don't understand or don't know that I had major coronary um, heart disease, and I had a major operation. Basically, I was all my major arteries were stuffed. They were kaputs, and I was living off the two veins um, uh, coming down from the heart. So I was living uh, with only basically 17% capacity left, and it caused two major heart attacks. And the strange thing about it was I was losing 7% per year, and that was over a period of 10 years. And I had never, um, you feel it, um, you understand that there's something wrong, and there's, but it never was a flat out heart attack. It was, uh, how do you express it? It was, in the end, it was searing pain, and I felt that in the back of my neck, and I just thought it was back problems, and yeah, I didn't really realise until it did creep up on me, and I had to go and get it sorted, and it wasn't a very good time in my life. Uh, Basically, you go to the hospital, that they're looking at you like how you're still walking around after you've had all those two heart attacks, and just something inside me just wanted to fight. And at that time, I had my kids on my mind, and yeah, it wasn't in a good place. They, yeah. So the surgeons were fantastic. I had a Swedish guy, a Mr. Sanchez, and yeah, he went through a whole heap of questions with me, and basically said the nurse will come back and she'll give you two pills, and when you're ready, take the two pills and make your peace, so to speak. And I remember laying there in bed and just going, yeah, it's thanks for life, and thanks for my kids, and I appreciate what you give me. I know I haven't been the best person in the world. Yes, I've done some naughty things, and yes, I've done some really amazing stuff that have helped people in life. And I took the two pills, and I didn't even bother to count. Basically, you just close your eyes and you're out. And luckily for me, I was still so unconscious on the table coming out of surgery, and I could feel these two hands on my shoulders, and the nurse saying, Mr. Cummings, it's time to wake up," and I was relieved. So basically, during heart disease, you can't walk. You have to learn how to walk again, and they say you're okay. They say you're 100% face the fear, but the reality is that your mind and your physical body just aren't the same. And I still find even today that the mind and the body isn't the same. And the biggest problem I found was that my mind had reset back to a period beforehand, and I basically thought everything was all right in life. And 3 days later, I found myself sleeping in a park, and then catching a bus home to Albany. And thank goodness for Mum. Yeah, I wouldn't be here today without her. And I thanked her one time, and I appreciate what she did for me. But what I wanted to speak about is prevention. There was no way I was going to prevent what I had. It was built over time. It was probably hereditary. But other people can take this example, and it's a little known drug by the name of Niacin. And they never tell you this stuff because they don't make any money out of it. But this drug is the best drug that it's not even a drug, it's the best mineral you can take to prevent heart disease in your life. And it's very, very cheap. You just drop it into the morning smoothie or the morning coffee, and you've got your niacin intake, and it's proven to prevent heart disease. Now, heart disease tablets are very, very expensive, and why I'm saying this is so that you can avoid the experience I had, because it wasn't a good experience. I lost a lot, but my mind, physically and mentally, still goes back to a certain place which shouldn't be there, and I attribute it more to for more of it being what this heart operation did to me mentally and physically. But yeah, I follow a guy by the name of Dr. Berg, and we're going to watch a video of his and just go through it. And I'm telling you, it's really worth. It's very, very cheap stuff. 100 grams cost me about was it $16 or something, even to get it shipped from overseas. You can get them at your local chemist. It's over the counter type drug. It's worth taking now, and probably subscribing your kids to it as well, and it will prevent heart disease, and it will stop the experience that I had to go through. And I'm going, when I get my new shipment in, I'll be getting the kids to take it, and hopefully the hereditary heart disease will the full stop with me. So we'll go through this video and we'll have a look.
Best remedy to prevent heart attacks, okay? And you're going to be asking yourself, why have I not heard about this before? Why isn't this in the news? Well,
very much worth follow Dr. Berg.
Because there's no money in it. That's really the bottom line. Who's going to promote it unless they make money on it?
And just have
no
look
one.
after yourself in
A
general.
bottle of this remedy, which has hardcore scientific data to show that it can prevent heart attacks, is only $3.19.
So there is hardcore data and research to prove that the stuff works.
Okay, $3. So if you say you can't afford it, well, I think you can. Now, I'm going to put a lot of the research down below. One study called the Coronary Drug Project, which was placebo-controlled, used this nutrient, okay, to show incredible results. But the remedy is niacin. Now, it's funny because my dad had heart problems. He had a pacemaker, had atrial fibrillation. And without my recommendation, he chows down.
Yeah, because heart disease, especially when I was in the hospital, I was very surprised at the age range. It's not just older people getting it, there were kids getting it. There were 30-year adults getting this heart disease, and yeah, it's an issue. Prevention is key.
These niacin tablets like all day long, and he seems to be doing pretty good. But there's a lot of research on niacin that goes back decades. And you want to get the niacin that gives you the flush. I would recommend an extended release niacin at 500 milligrams and do at least one a day. All right, so let's talk about what it can actually do. It significantly lowers your cholesterol, specifically oxidized LDL. Okay, that's the type that creates inflammation. It has potent cardiovascular protection. it has been found to lower the white blood cell reaction in the inside of your arteries, because when your body is forming plaque in atherosclerosis, you have an immune part of that as well that is usually responsible for inflammation, which we don't want a lot of inflammation in our arteries. Well, niacin,
So basically, it just cleans out your arteries, and it's stopping the inflammatory aspects in your body, especially when you get older, or even when you're young. You know, your body's puffed out, and because you're not eating right, or you know, today's modern junk food is just horrendous.
decreases monocytes and other white blood cells and the inflammation that comes along with it. Niacin significantly lowers something called CRP, C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein is a strong predictor of mortality. C-reactive protein is a very strong independent predictor of heart attacks, or you can call them myocardial infarction, peripheral vascular disease, and stroke. If there's high levels of C-reactive protein in your body, you have inflammation, okay?
So it can even prevent strokes, which is, it makes it an amazing drug, and no one's heard of it. It's only just coming out now, and there's a lot more benefits with niacin.
And niacin can help squash that. You see, when a clot forms or plaque forms in the arteries, you always have first this oxidation going on. Well, guess what? Niacin suppresses that oxidation. It acts as a very powerful antioxidant, as one of the things it can do. And I think the biggest thing why it's so powerful is it gets rid.
So what's also interesting there is he talks about it's an antioxidant. People actually use it to flush their bodies or detox. And so niacin's very, very strong drug.
Of vascular inflammation, and it prevents the lipids or the fats from depositing on the arterial wall. It also reduces triglycerides too, and at the same time it increases the HDL. So niacin has the power to slow and reverse arterial sclerosis. And I know you're wondering, why haven't I heard about this? Why isn't this promoted all over the place? Well, like I said, there's no money in it. Niacin can decrease the mortality risk in people that have cardiovascular disease. Niacin tends to prevent
So
dysfunction.
there's people like me, and if you're someone like me, I didn't know I had it. I didn't know I had it for 10 years. I was losing 7% for 10 years. I knew there was a problem because physically I couldn't lift or do the same things, and my mind was starting to wander.
Function in that inner layer of the artery called the endothelial layer, which is where it all starts, and it significantly reduces the adhesions that form in that wall. Now, on the flip side, a lot of people that have high cholesterol are taking statins, so let's just kind of touch on that while we're on the topic. So it is true that statins do block and lower cholesterol, okay? But there's no evidence that it reduces the risk of getting heart attacks. But basically, statins work by blocking your body's production of.
Ultimately, if you're going to die of a heart attack, you're going to die of a heart attack. But statins work in a certain way.
Cholesterol. The problem with that is that to make bile salts, you need cholesterol. And without bile salts, you can't now absorb vitamin A, D, E, which is very, very important, K1, K2, which is another vitamin that's very, very important, keeping the calcium out of the arteries. Also, you need that cholesterol to make testosterone. So a lot of people on statins end up with very low testosterone. You know, there's actually no long-term placebo-controlled statin trials. I guess they can't do them in humans, so it's a big unknown whether statins really increase your life or not. But what we do know, they have a lot of side effects, especially to anything related.
Yeah, and that's the tablets they give us. There are all these, I think there's about 6 different tablets, and yeah, expensive.
To your muscles. They block something called coenzyme Q10 that the mitochondria needs within your muscle cells. And your heart is a muscle. And so some of the side effects are muscle wasting, okay, heart failure, all sorts of achiness in your muscles, including low back pain and other types of pains. So I'm not telling you to get off your statins. All I'm telling you is to research, get the data, show this data to your doctor. I'll put the links down below. An informed decision based on the data versus the general consensus of what everyone's recommending. So if you're concerned about your heart and you have heart issues and you're on medication for the heart, you may want to consider taking this niacin. It's very, very inexpensive. Get the extended release, 500 milligrams, take at least one per day. Now, if you have not yet seen my video on the best meal to protect your heart, I put that up right here. Check it out.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bird. So yeah, it's food for thought. It's actually it's more, and it's something that we all should be using. And don't use it in excess. Just use a teaspoon of it. Put it in your smoothie. Put it in your coffee. It'll protect you. And coming from someone with the experience of going through operations, the mental and physical side of things, it is really worth buying. Alright, so thanks. That's my thoughts. Yeah, heart disease and living with it. Yeah, I don't want to go back there. Alright, see you guys later.